You started with a dream, now you leading a team. Working it closing them deals, working with purpose. You don't walk around with a purse, but you working it, walking in heels. Beauty and brains, speaking and fighting for change. Intellectual and clever.
So pretty much house hacking is where you are going to buy a 2-flat, a 3-flat, a 4-unit, and live in one unit and you rent the other units out. So essentially you are living for free. That is the idea of house hacking.
Table, grinding from all different angles. Got you on trips, making money while the bank closed. You stay focused and you tryna get your paper. Independent, never asking for no favor. She got flavor, look at her behavior. They were sleeping on you, now they finna wake up.
I just want you guys to understand your purchasing power that you have as a first-time home buyer or as a home buyer in general.
Bossed up, never lost touch, it's going down. Gotta see you play monopolies for the properties we own now.
Really? For real?
Hey ladies, welcome back. You know what time it is. This is your host, Rashana Scott, with the 4th annual Flippin and Heels Virtual Summit. And I am so excited. I got another badass woman in real estate who I want to bring to you guys, introduce to you guys, talk, just have girl talk with you guys, talk about what it's like being a boss in this industry, being a woman in business, growing a brand literally from ground up, 0 to 100, 0 to 7 figures. Okay. So all of that. So I'm so excited. We're going to touch on, as you guys know, of course, real estate investing, more specific niche in real estate investing. But we're going to talk a little bit about, the business side, the digital side, the marketing side. So we're going to touch on it today. So I hope you guys got your pen, your pad, your papers, and you are ready because I am so excited to introduce to you guys my girl, my sis, drum roll, Sharnice Williams.
Yes, thank you so much, Rashana, for having me. And what's up, ladies? So glad to be here.
What's up? Thanks so much for saying yes and joining us on the summit. So we're gonna jump. Yep. So we're gonna jump right in. Tell the people who the crazy folks that don't know who you are. I'm just playing, y'all not crazy. But for the people who do not know who you are, who are you?
Yeah, so I'm Sharnice Williams, born and raised like Rashana in Chicago. Yes, south side of Chicago. So yes.
You know we sound the same. I'm like
right. Gotta put the right side in there, right? But no, so south side of Chicago. So yes, me and my partner in life, Byron, we own Mobile Home Elite Investors, which means we do everything mobile homes. So we buy and sell mobile homes, we flip mobile homes, wholesale mobile homes. We've done lease to own and rent. But then last year we actually transitioned to the commercial space and we own mobile home parks. So we currently own 4 mobile home parks, and we actually just today put a 3-park deal under contract. So hopefully that one will go through and we'll own 7. So that's just like a real brief background about my entrepreneurial journey. And then, prior to that, just really quickly, I worked for the gas company here in Chicago. So that was like my last 9 to 5. Really did not like that job. And I kind of knew, just based on me not being happy, me not living through my purpose, when I did find mobile home investing, it just lit a light bulb in me, and it's just fueled me, just to really be in the affordable housing sector and to be helping families every single day in need be able to afford housing. That's what really has pushed us to even move from the individual deals to now the communities.
I love it. And the amazing thing is that there was nobody in mobile homes, right? Like that, I shouldn't say nobody. There was nobody that we knew of that looked like us, talked like us, from where we're from in mobile homes. And I love the fact that you were like, hey, obviously I know your story, but you were like, hey, this is something that we should look into. It's something that you never heard of before, but you're like, why not, right? Was it you or Byron that stumbled across it?
Oh, it was me, honey.
Of
It's,
course.
it's the woman. No, but yeah.
Okay.
So he actually had found a podcast on mobile home investing, and he sent it to me. Now, prior to that, I had already kind of been on the internet, and I was looking at like tiny homes, and I just thought they were so beautiful, and I was like, man. And mind you, this was back in like 2017. So, of course, even tiny homes in 2021 is like huge. Like they're really big on the West Coast and even like down in Florida. But back then, like that was even a new sector. So, but the tiny homes compared to the mobile homes, it's a completely different bracket. Like those prices are higher. So I kind of knew we couldn't start in that. So he ended up sending me the podcast on mobile home investing. And, I listened to it and I just fell in love. I'm like, look, I like the numbers. I like how they saying low cost. I like how they saying that your credit don't have to be good because that was our situation. So when he got home, I was like, look, we doing this. Like
Right.
we doing this, and I want us to do it together. And I'm blessed that I have a partner like Byron who didn't give me any pushback. He believed in how excited I was, and that really pushed him to be like, okay, babe, let's do it. Let's fail forward.
Praise God. Okay. I
Okay,
love
listen.
it. But yeah, no, I want to point that out again because for those of you who are listening, like I hope you guys have been getting like some sort of revelation throughout this entire summit, right? Because there have been things that these women have been saying where it's like, man, okay, that sounds good, or like, okay, I can do it too. And what I'm hearing here is, man, we know nothing about this, but it sounds like it's possible, and that's all they needed, right? They had the faith of a mustard seed, they had a little inch, right? Just saying like, okay, this sounds like us and we can do it. But guess what? They mama wasn't doing it, their cousin wasn't doing it, their sister, their daddy, whatever. So I feel as though like sometimes we always look to the left and right for validation, before we can get started with things. And sometimes you just got to look within and say like, man, we can do this, I can do this. And I love that y'all took it and ran with it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, by not knowing anything. So cool. So let's talk about getting into like, the actual investing part and what does that look like? Because so you listen to the podcast and you're like, okay, we're gonna do this. So the education was like you guys just investing more into education, or like what did that look like? Because and I love like just hearing this part of the getting started story, because right, like it wasn't that long ago, right?
Right.
And there's so many people who are literally right there. So you listen to a podcast. What was next?
Yeah, so I love that question because we always get like, who taught y'all this? Like, who put y'all on? And literally, we taught ourselves, right? I definitely have to give it up. So what happened was that we listened to the podcast and we start driving for dollars. We literally start looking up mobile home parks in the state of Illinois, the state of Indiana, because we like, listen, we don't want to just, keep ourselves in Illinois. We want to see exactly what's in our market. So we start going to Indiana as well. But really, we just started driving for dollars and literally just started getting out of the car. I mean, I'm talking about scared, like not knowing what to say, but just getting out of the car, talking to sellers, talking to mobile home handyman, and then even talking to actual park managers and park owners to be like, hey, this is what we're trying to do, just kind of getting our words right. And we really learned from them, just learn from people that, that owned the parks, the mobile home handyman. Like they really kind of took us under their wing in the beginning and was able to help us like sell our first home.
Love it. Love it. Okay, cool. And so you driving for dollars, and look, I got a plug. Shout out to bro and sis, Crystal and Dedrick Polite.
Yes, yes.
Driving
Shout
for
out to
dollars
Polite.
queen.
Yes.
So if y'all don't know, but actually Crystal was on last year's summit, so you guys can go back and check out that interview on the YouTube series. But so driving for dollars, for those who don't know, is basically a method to where you literally are driving to find off market deals, right? In this market especially in 2021, the market is oversaturated with buyers. There is no inventory. And as always, the best deals are going to be the deals that you find off market. I had somebody in my DMs today. How do I find off market deals? Driving for dollars is one of them. So it is a strategy to where you are literally driving to identify vacant or rundown or dilapidated or just properties in general that sellers may want to sell. Deal Machine is a great app that, you know, if you guys are actually driving and looking at actual houses, you can ping it and it'll pull up all the owner's information right then and there. So yes, you know, write that down, Google it later, YouTube it, a ton of information there. Okay, cool. So you guys driving for dollars, out here talking to people, talking to strangers, just figuring it out. Then eventually, you know, got into your first deal. What did that look like? And what were the numbers on that? Because I know, you know, in the beginning, we talked about like mobile homes being low cost, but we didn't even touch on like the numbers yet.
Yes. So our first deal I actually found on Facebook Marketplace. So I had discovered that Facebook Marketplace was kind of like the newer Craigslist back then. Like I was like, wow, you can find anything on a marketplace. So I literally had one day just typed in like mobile homes for sale and like again, just saw so many for sale. So what happened was I ended up connecting with a park manager through the marketplace because I thought I was talking to like an individual seller, but it was actually the park manager who was selling like some older homes on the park that they needed just to get some buyers in right away. So I ended up talking to him. I was like typing kind of what I was trying to do, but again, I don't know what I'm talking about. So he was like, you know what? Like, I like your energy. Why don't you guys just come in and let's just have a face-to-face conversation so that way we could just kind of see what you're trying to do. And then we can go from there. So we ended up driving about 2 hours away. So that's another thing. You talk about off-market deals, especially with mobile home investing. So of course, again, like I said, we're in Chicago. You're not going to find those low, like the price that I'm about to say in the city of Chicago. You're not going to find that. Like for us, you have to drive a few hours in order to see like those lower than $5,000 mobile homes. So we ended up driving the 2 hours and we saw the home. We met with the park manager. We talked about, you know, we were trying to do business on his park and invest and just really bring value to his park and still, you know, not take away from the income that they need as a business, but just be able to collaborate and just really partner up. So, you know, they love that type of language when you talking like that. You know, it's hard for them to say no when you coming in there confidently and just really just talking about partnership. So, you know, we had that conversation. He showed us the house. So the first mobile home we saw, it was beautiful. I mean, it was like, we was like, wow, this a mobile home. It was literally move-in ready. It was a 3-bed, 2-bath. And we ended up buying that one for 3,700. Yes, 3,700. So it actually was listed at 6,500, but we had negotiated down to 3,700. So we was like, okay, cool. So because it was like a no-brainer.
Now let me pause you right there. What was this, 2017?
This was a 2018.
2018. Had you ever spent $3,700 on anything?
Nope. Nope. Nope.
And the reason why I asked you that is because, you know, we say that now, like, oh, you know, I spent, you know, whatever X amount, right? Mm-hmm. But at that time, you know, you hadn't spent 33,000, whatever. Even, yes, like you said, that is a great price for a mobile home, but you have to drive out to get that price. Mm-hmm. But also at the same time, you were working a 9 to 5, right? Saving up, like these are your coins from your 9 to 5 that you save to go and put into this investment that you didn't even know if it was gonna work.
Yeah, no, so that's real. And actually, by the time that I got the house, like by the time we actually closed on the mobile home with that 3,700, I had actually got fired. So these were funds that we had took out a loan. We took out a $10,000 loan. So that's another thing. We took out a very high interest loan. So we always talk about
like a payday loan.
Yes, like a payday loan. But looking back on it, it's like we've been able to, of course, pay those loans back tenfold. But it's like even then, a lot of people are hesitant to even do that. But it's like for us, we was just like, we had nothing else to lose. It's like I had lost my job. Byron had lost his job at the time. So it's like, look, like something has to give, like something has to work, So this was like our chance to be like, look, listen, we gonna fail forward. At least we could say we tried it. And if it doesn't work, we'll figure out something else. But we tried it and it worked. So
I love it. I'm like, yes, hustle, baby, hustle.
right.
That's the name of the game, man. Like,
Yes.
and how many people would be down in their lives and granted, okay, y'all didn't have kids and y'all didn't have other mouths to feed, because I feel like so many people like will look at that, right? Like, well, did they have kids, or did they have this, or did they have that, as excuses essentially. But some excuses are valid, but at the end of the day, it's still an excuse because like you said, at the end of the day, figure it out. What's the worst that can happen? Okay, like, what are you willing to risk, right? Like at that time, let's say like the two of y'all were living together and y'all like, look, either we're gonna pay our rent or we're gonna buy this mobile home. Like what did it come down
that's
to?
real life.
And what you had to sacrifice, because it's like, well, we can go live in mama basement, until we figure this out. But until then, we're gonna grind and we're gonna hustle and we're gonna figure this out.
Yes, no, and that's real life because that's really what it was for us. Like it's so many months that I literally my rent at the time, and I'm very transparent. My rent at the time was like $12.50. I literally would give my landlord $600 and then be like, look, I'll figure it out. I'll be able to give you the rest of the money by the end of the month. And I will say, luckily, I had a really supportive landlord at the time that really didn't give me a lot of pushback. And I think the reason is because I had already been staying with him for 2 years. So like by that third year, that's when like, he knew that I lost my job and stuff. So he was really like supportive during that time. But that support actually helped us because it's like, yeah, it was about it. Like, okay, well, we're gonna use this money for our mobile home investment. So I know we short on like cash for bills right now. But if we able to go ahead and, flip this mobile home, I'll be able to pay the rent with no problem.
Boom. Cool. Okay. All right. So first home, $3,700. You guys found the handyman, also online too, or he was at the park?
No, so the handyman was at the park, but for this home, literally nothing had to be fixed. Like the park had actually just finished rehabbing it. The thing with the park, and this is most mobile home parks, they just didn't want to sell it. They didn't have time to sell it. So for the park manager at the time that we was working with, he was excited to have somebody come in and kind of take that pressure off of his back because again, a park manager is still a position. He has a boss. His boss has a boss. So they're on his behind to be like, okay, why are you not selling these homes? So yeah, so we ended up this one we literally just had it cleaned out and then I ended up putting it on the marketplace. So same thing how he found me on the marketplace. I was like, let me do that same thing. So we took some really nice pictures, uploaded them to the marketplace, and then I ended up finding a buyer. I listed it for 10. I ended up selling it for 9,500.
Hey,
right.
Come on with the flip. And what was the time frame?
So that took about a little bit over a month. Yeah, so not too long.
So you tripled your return in 30 days.
Yes. Basically
well,
30 days.
A double, yeah.
Yeah. So for us, that was the deal that we was like, okay, come on, what's y'all next house? What house y'all? Because now we got some capital.
Buy next?
Right, now we got some capital to keep building this. So that's what we was like, okay, what can we buy next? And then really too, what it was for me, like the family, the lady who brought our first house, like mind you, again, this is when you talk about everybody think their first deal is gonna go perfect and nothing's gonna go wrong, or they hope it is. And that's what a lot of people, especially women, we get scared and fearful about things that we overthink in our mind to be like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. But everything that I thought was going to go wrong definitely went wrong. Like even when we first met the first buyer, like we didn't even know about the whole mobile home title and the transfer, and you got to have certain paperwork. So we were literally just selling her the home. We went to the wrong DMV. Like it was just so much stuff happening, but they were so nice to us. I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, wow. Like it was just all different signs from God that I was just like, okay, I know that I should be doing this because everything's going wrong. But these people energy is so radiant to me right now. Like it really just continues to push me.
Good stuff. Okay, cool. So, so what did what did it look like before you guys got to the parks? Because we're gonna get to the parks, but so was it like flipping mobile homes? Was it holding? Was it rent to own? Was it what was the main strategy that you guys had started doing? Because the great thing about it is that like you have the strategy of investing in mobile homes, but then once you decide that you're going to invest, there's multiple ways that you can be an investor, as in regular real estate. So what route did you guys take?
Yeah, so for us, we continue to flip. We definitely did a few flips in the beginning. The reason why is because we needed capital. We wanted to continue to build capital to continue to invest. Now, once we got to like our fifth deal, then that's when we started doing the lease to own. So that's when we were collecting those monthly payments on individual mobile homes. And for us, that was really good because now we're supplementing our income. Now, I'm getting $500 a month on this mobile home, $400 a month on this one. So now I'm paying half the rent with this one. I'm paying my phone bill with this one. I'm paying my student loans with this one. And that was really important for us to continue to, just supplement our debt and our daily, I mean, not daily, monthly, sorry, our monthly bills. So most of the lease to own, though, I will say, and that's what we've learned just in the mobile home sector that, tax season and now we got semi season on top of that. These people just want to pay off their home. So even when we try to continue to do the rent to own, a lot of our tenant buyers will hit us up and be like, hey, I just got my tax check. Like, am I able just to pay my house off? And I'm like, cool, like I have no problem with that. So most of our lease to own has actually paid off their home.
Nice, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, the saying is having an asset to pay for every liability, right? And then the great thing is that in mobile home investing, you was able to do that real quick, right? So your average cash flow was like $500 a home, essentially, or like how did you analyze that? Like we can talk about like what did you look at, in terms of like analyzing and determining and understanding like what's a good deal in the mobile home world.
Yeah, so when it comes to like rentals or even rent to own to determine the monthly rate, first you want to start off by what are they actually renting already? So what is the average rent in the mobile home park? Because most parks already have like rentals at least to own. But then you also want to look at what's the average rent. So for like apartments, even homes that's renting in the area, you want to look like what's the average rent in the area. So once you get that number, the mobile home park is going to have what we call lot rent. So for those of you who don't know what lot rent is equivalent to like a HOA fee. So it's just like when you go to a condo or townhome, it's the same thing with a mobile home park. But with the mobile home park, the lot rent is for the mobile home sitting on that land. So you're leasing the land that the mobile home sits on. And then it'll come with like amenities as well, trash. Most parks will have like a pool or community center. We just actually drove to one park the other day and they had a whole convenience store. It was like a mini Walmart in the park. And I was like, that was genius. It was something that I thought about for some of our future parks, but that's what you're paying for. So when it comes to calculating and finding out what you should charge, it's really just whatever the lot rent is, then compared to the average rent, and then just to, add that on. So let's just say the average rent is $900, but the lot rent is $500. So now you have like a $400 window that you can add on for your portion The tenant buyer will move in. Of course, they'll be responsible for the lot rent. They'll pay the $500 to the park, and they understand that because they know they're moving into a mobile home community. And then they'll pay you the $400 per month for renting out the home.
Good stuff. Thanks so much for breaking it down, because I know our listeners were wondering that. And what are some things that people who are interested in getting into mobile homes, and even if it's their first time hearing it for the first time, because I know every now and then y'all get people who are so excited to hear about it for the first time. Like when you cross state lines, right? What are some things that, like in this state, you have to look out for this, or like what are some important factors that, you know, no matter where you are, or if you are in these specific areas, things that you have to look out for, or how things can differ from state to state? Like what are the major things to look out for?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing that came to mind when it comes to state is that even when it comes to like the mobile home title process, so of course that fee is going to vary state to state. So that's just like a mobile home inside of a park is just equivalent to when you purchase and sell a car. So it's still that same like car title. The mobile home title looks exactly the same in your state, except for the title transfer fees may differ per state. Something else that you have to worry about is that each state has its own laws as far as how many mobile homes you can technically sell per state, and that means transfer title. So, like the state of Illinois, we can do 4, Indiana is 9, Florida is 1. Those are just a few examples, but each state will have a different number as far as how many you can sell. Now, once you get to that number, then you have to get what is called a dealer's license. So again, it's the same dealer's license that you would get if you were a car salesman, but it's going to be a additional section for manufactured housing. So those are kind of the things that vary from state to state.
I didn't know that. So y'all up here dealing.
I mean, yeah.
Y'all willing and dealing.
Yeah, we willing and dealing. But I will say, like, once you get in the business, you definitely learn the tricks and the strategies. There's ways around everything. I'm gonna just say that. But those are just kind of like the things to look out for in your individual states.
That's good. That's really good to know. So is it hard to get a dealer's license? Or what's the process like?
That varies from state to state too. So that's what I was going to say. So here in the state of Illinois, you literally, if you want to get the car and the manufactured housing license, you can actually get it together. So it's like an 8-hour class, and then it's like different like forms and things that you have to get. You have to get bond insurance, like just some few things you'll have to get. And then once you pass the class, then you're good. Other states, like the state of Georgia, our student was just telling us like they had to have a gun license, and it was just, you know, some additional things that you need to have. So yeah, that's going to vary from state to state.
Do you know which state you can, I guess, sell as many, like the most without having a license?
Yeah, so Maryland is one. Maryland is one. That's the only one I can think of right off the top of my head, but Maryland is one.
That's interesting though. So I didn't know that. You know, it makes me think about like in the housing industry where, or even in wholesaling, like in Illinois, you know, you have to be a licensed realtor now in order to wholesale more than one property a year. So yeah, there are certain stipulations and regulations put on everything. And then also too, in the housing mortgage world, like you can only have 10 mortgages in your name, right? So there are certain rules and regulations to everything, but it's a matter of just knowing the game. So you know how to get in and play, basically.
Yep.
Basically. Good stuff. So transitioning into the parks, right? So you guys have like you said, so you initially got into mobile home investing. You were flipping, you were doing some holding stuff, some seller finance deals. And I know for you guys, like the goal has had for a long time been the parks. So tell us about the process of, you know, why that is, why get into that versus, you know, what you guys were doing, because you were making good money flipping homes.
Yeah, so for us, we knew after that first deal that we wanted a park. The reason why is because the first park that we ever did business on, they had over 500 lots and it was fully occupied. And the lot
Y'all
rent
added
was
that up quick.
right. We at girl on that ride home, we had the calculator out, okay, and was writing down
On that
so many
2-hour
numbers.
ride.
Yes, okay, and just like planning and strategizing. So yeah, the lot rent at the time was 575. So I mean, you do the math, and that park was fully occupied. They only had like two vacancies at the time when we had first started. So I was like, never in a million years have thought about mobile home communities as an asset, as a, generational wealth. You talking about long money, you know what I'm saying? So that's really what it was for us. And then not only that, just to know like, that park had 500 families that was living in a nice community and had a place to call home. And these are families that really struggle with that really fueled us as well to be like, we got to continue to do this even on a bigger scale.
Good stuff. And so the deals, initially getting into the park deals, like how do you know what's a good deal, right? Because the like we talked about, how do you know what's a good deal on the home on the mobile home side, but even on the park side, like when you guys are analyzing deals and before you make an offer and put together a deal, like what are some of the things that you guys are specifically looking for?
Yeah, so you definitely have to do strong due diligence. Okay, strong due diligence. So when it comes to mobile home parks, the first thing you want to have inspected is the land. You definitely want to have the county come out and inspect the land. You want to have them to look at the water system. If it's sewer or if it's city water, you want to make sure that the pipes and everything underground is right, because that's when you're going to have a lot of trouble down the line. And really, the biggest thing that we're learning too in the mobile home community world is that you want to make friends with whichever county that you plan on owning in. You want to make sure that you're going to talk to the people that, pretty much owns that county so that you guys can create a partnership and that they won't have any problems with you continuing to own a mobile home community in that area.
Got it. Good stuff. Cool. So I want to transition a little bit. We are pretty much halfway through, well, more than halfway through the interview. All of this has been really, really great information, literally from starting, financing, funding, right? We didn't even talk about like the different ways that you can finance and fund, but at the end of the day, figure it out, right? If it's $3,000, $5,000, whatever, $10,000, borrow it, work for it, whatever, beg for it, like
Right.
figure it out, like the strategy. I feel like you don't have to get, it's not as strenuous as it is to like regular real estate investing, because the barrier to entry is lower, the price point is much lower. Like you said, you can put together a couple of stimulus checks, right?
Listen,
Let
and
me
get
take
you a mobile home.
that the refund season is here, right? So the barrier to entry is low, which is great. Anybody can get into mobile home investing. So a lot of great strategies here. I want to transition into digital marketing.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yes, because y'all, I have seen how you guys have leveraged and used social media to really grow your brand, leverage your business, and ultimately have the ability to do more. And so let's start there. Take me back to, look, whatever was first, was it the brand? Was it the logo? Was it like, and even putting together a business, right? Because again, when you're just getting started, nobody said like, did you guys, create your LLC before you bought your first mobile home?
No.
Right. So take us back. I want to know from day, like all of that.
Yeah. So we were doing mobile home investing for about 8 months. And Byron had said probably after 4th month, he was like, Shar, we got to teach this. And I'm like, okay. I didn't really know what that meant. I'm just like, okay. But then he kept saying it. He like, no, we got to teach this. We gotta share this. Like, but the reason why too is because a lot of our friends and family, they were just so confused because we wasn't working for so long. And they like, how are y'all not able to work and still, keep y'all cars and pay y'all bills and stuff? So for us, that just really drives us to be like, okay, we got to share this with our people because, we didn't know anybody else who looked like us that was doing this. And I'm like, it's so many millions of others that need this information. This is life-changing information. So, we finally, about that 8th month, he was serious. He sat me down and was like, no, like we need to come up with a brand. We need to put this out here. I've already looked, like I don't see anybody else who look like us that's teaching this. This would be a great opportunity for us to, not only build our brand and build us up, but build others up. So he literally, his guy made our logo. So he hit up his guy. He knew somebody that did logo. So he did our logo. So we had the logo for like a few weeks before we even did anything with it. It was just like, okay, cute. We got a cute logo. That's cute. But, we still ain't doing anything. So Byron, he finally ended up making an Instagram page. So made the Instagram page. We posted the logo. So maybe like a week later, I was like, okay, for real. Like, no, this is opportunity because by then I had kind of started seeing some other influencers and I'm like, okay, I kind of see what they doing now. Now I kind of see this fuel that you trying to get me to have. So I was the one who made the first video. Like, hey, I'm Sharnice, mobile home elite, just kind of putting myself out there. Again,
now you got me wanting to go and scroll back to the first video.
Right. Yes, girl. So completely stepped outside of my shell, completely did something that I never thought I would ever do, was to put myself out on social media in this type of light. So yeah, I made the first video, just kind of introducing myself, like letting people know who we were. And again, we didn't have no products or anything at the time. We just really wanted to just get the information out there. So that kind of fueled Byron to be like, okay, hold on, this is my idea. Let me hop in. Like, not my woman is stepped up, So then he hopped in. So from there, it was really just building up the page. Like, we just really people always ask us, like, how did y'all get y'all followers? And it's like, it's really organic. Like, when we first started, we were so consistent with content and different content. Because you got to understand, like, for us, we were talking about something that nobody ever heard about. Or if they did hear about it, they ain't hear two Black kids from Chicago talking about it and talking about it in our language and our accent. They say we got an accent from Chicago. I don't hear it.
I don't hear it either. What is it?
They always be like, girl, you so Chicago. And I'll be like, okay, but yeah, so to see us, talking in our language and we going inside of mobile home parks and we outside of the parks with our phones and we film and they see the people in the community walking past and they're not scared or whatever. That just kind of really just got our stuff shared. And we start connecting with people that other bigger influencers and they start sharing our platform and it just took off.
Okay. And so one thing that is repeated in this conversation is jumping out there anyway. So I hope those that are listening that you are picking up on that because like she said, how many of you have said it? I'm talking to you. How many of you have said, oh, I'm not good on social media. I don't really like social media. I don't know what to post. They done went from 0 to 100. I don't even know how many followers y'all have. But literally, Sharnice said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to document, share my story, share my journey. We're just going to share. And I think, that's the thing. So many people get caught up on imposter syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And imposter syndrome, if you never heard of it before, maybe you've experienced it, but you didn't know it had a name. Basically, it's you not wanting to post or put yourself out there because you don't want to come off as a quote unquote expert because you don't think that you're an expert. But here's the thing. Nobody said you had to be an expert to just share your story and share your journey, because if that's the case, if we had thought we had to be experts before we press record, how many people would have been left uninspired? How many people would not be in positions to do what they're doing? And then we wouldn't be in a position to do what we're doing, right? Because we share, because we educate, at the end of the day, they weren't showing up saying that, hey, we're experts. They were showing up saying, hey, this is what we did. This is what we tried. This is what we learned. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. And I did the same thing. So I know, the journey, the story, and then the results, right? And so for any of you who may be stuck on that, I really I'm glad you brought that up, because it's a real thing. Because like you said, also being transparent, I've dealt with it before, right? Like, oh, okay, your followers are growing, and this is growing, and that's growing. Looking like you got it all together, but you ain't got it all together. But here's the thing, I didn't say I had it all together. Perception is reality. Okay. So if they perceive that I had it all together, that's on them. I'm just showing, what I want to show. And that's the thing too, keeping in mind that everybody has a good day and a bad day, or a good side and a bad side. And people are only going to share what they want to share anyway. So look, I'm not going to get all off on that, but
Listen, and hold on, I want to add something really quick to that, because I have a lot of friends and that's trying to start in the digital space. And one thing too that you don't want to worry about is the negative comments. Because a lot of people, what stops them is like, well, I don't want people commenting and saying stuff. No, speak from your heart. Put yourself out there. Worry about yourself. As long as you know what you're saying and doing, and as long as you're happy with what you're putting out, that's all that matters. We get negative comments all the time. I don't care, because these people don't know me in real life. They know me through a cellular phone. They don't know me. So it's like, you got to have that same attitude when putting out your product or brand, or if you want to even teach what you're doing in real estate, like, teach it. If you feel like you have a voice and you have people surrounding you that need to hear your voice, put your voice out there, but don't let the negative comments kind of stop you in your journey. Because we've had a lot of people even like reach out to us and just kind of ask for that advice. So I thought it was good to share.
Absolutely. Yep. The negative comments, all of that. I done been there, done that. And at the end of the day, you just keep pushing. But yeah, I'm so excited for you guys and proud of you guys, because I've seen you grow. I remember y'all had literally 10 or 12,000 followers, and y'all done blew up. Y'all done way past me. And it's not about the followers, obviously, but it's definitely about the lives that you change and the impact that you make, and the more people that you help. And again, I know that what you guys have built, and I literally see the success. So I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. We're so proud of you too, girl.
So I would say that wraps that. This interview was great. Thanks for following me, because I'm over here, I'm over there. I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that, because I know we have so much to talk about in a short amount of time. But I love that, again, you guys, put out the program, put out the course, scaled it, leveraged it, utilizing the funds from that to now invest in other spaces and aspects in your business. And that's the other thing too, right? At the end of the day, we teach and preach multiple streams of income, multiple revenue streams and all of the above. And even, at the end of the day, if you guys were like, well, I don't see myself doing this or doing that, you do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do.
Yes, I love it. I love it. That's a gem right there.
So, yeah. So, well, how can people find you, follow you, support what you have going on? Check out information about mobile home investing, because I know y'all have an amazing course that I give a 5-star rating to.
Appreciate you. Yes, so we're at Mobile Home Elite Investors across all platforms: IG, Facebook, YouTube. It's MH Elite Investors. So yeah, come check us out. Come follow us. Man, we got so much stuff even coming up this year in 2021 for you guys. So we just super excited.
Woo-woo. Love it. Well, thanks so much for coming on the 4th annual Flippin' and Heels Badass Women in Real Estate Virtual Summit. And you guys can see why Sharnice is a badass woman in real estate. She and her significant other have literally built a very successful 7-figure business from ground up. And again, I hope you guys were paying attention that the repetitive thing here was basically just showing up regardless, you know, do it scared anyway. Like all of these cliches we hear, like when you live it, that's where the success is on the other side of the cliche. That's the bar. Somebody tweet that, okay? That's what
right. Put that on a shirt, sis.
It's on the other side of the cliche, but you know, because I feel like we hear it so much. But that's what it is. Like you said, just showing up. So on that note, I'm not gonna keep ranting. I'm gonna wrap this interview. This was amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. And I will talk to you soon. All right, ladies.
Yes. Bye.